You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters. Welcome, fellow stargazers. Your sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hi, Sarah.
How's it going?
Oh, my goodness. It's spring. It's spring.
It is spring.
It's spring. Spring. I can't wait. You know?
It's here. And it's here. And this is episode 28 that will be the spring equinox reference edition of Sister Stargazers. So this episode will cover Sunday, March 20th through Saturday, March 26th. And we're sort of going to do a equinox week and then a larger equinox forecast this episode. So how shall we start?
Well, it's also, I just want to mention, the 20th of March, 2022 is the spring equinox, but it's also International Astrology Day.
Ooh.
So happy International Astrology Day to everybody out there.
How do we celebrate? I guess we just do something astrological.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to our podcasts.
Yes, or at 11:34 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, go out there and realize that the day and the night, they're as equal as they're going to get in time.
Ah. That's the date and time of the spring equinox on the eastern shore is 11:34 a.m.
Yes, March 20th, 2022, 11:34 a.m. That's exactly when the sun reaches 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Aries.
Okay.
In the zodiac.
So it's the start of a new astrological year.
Yes.
Okay.
And that gives us a lot of hope because, I mean, as we all know, a lot has been coming up for clearing over the last 3 months. And mostly because it's like the balsamic phase of the year. When the balsamic phase of the new moon comes, just before the new moon, there's the balsamic phase.
Yes.
That's when a lot of old stuff can be discarded, released.
Yes.
And so as we moved up to this point in the 0 degree Aries, 0 minutes Aries, and we were looking at everything that came before, the previous weeks that have come before have been like a balsamic phase of the moon where it's possible to just release.
Yeah.
And so it's spring in the northern hemisphere. It's the beginning of fall in the southern hemisphere. And again, it's a releasing time. The fall is a releasing time as we move into winter. So this is a point where we can assess.
Yes.
And we can look at this chart for this equinox for the week and see many things in it that are also, if we macro it out to the season, so we go April, May, June, when the summer solstice begins, we will also be able to use this chart as a kind of reading for the season.
Okay.
So that's why it's a reference chart.
Reference episode.
Exactly.
Bookmark this episode.
That's right, because you can refer back to it.
All right. So the equinox is on Sunday, and then do we want to then just talk about these transits coming up for the week first?
Yeah. So the transits coming up, there's quite a grouping of planets, and they have been grouping in previous weeks. If you've been listening to us, we've also been talking about how these planets have kind of been grouping together as they travel around. And they're currently in like a third of the zodiac. Almost all the planets are in a third. And the moon has been kind of a singleton, kind of looping around,
right?
Hitting them all and then going around to the other 2/3 of the zodiac.
Right.
And so in this particular chart, the moon is at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Libra. The 29 degree point in any of the signs is called an anorectic degree.
Okay.
And that means it brings all of every quality of Libra almost over the line.
Okay.
So Libra, so accommodating, so compromising, so bending over backwards, so willing to be nice. That's Libra. So the moon is just so over it.
Yeah.
Like it's just tried so hard to compromise, so hard to make peace, so hard to be the good person, so hard to make everything okay. It's worked so hard, and it's like done.
And it's literally gone as far as it possibly can, because at 29 degrees, 59 minutes, the only next place it can go is the starting degree of Scorpio. Okay. That's sort of metaphoric, like you've gone as far as you can go.
Yeah.
If metaphoric is a word.
Yes, absolutely. That's what the zodiac, that's what astrology is. It's a metaphoric language.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's perfect. So, yeah, we have reached a point where we cannot go back, and the only place to go is forward, and especially interpersonal relationships.
Okay.
Libra is the balancer, the point of balance. It's all about relationships. It's ruled by Venus. It wants everything to be good and wonderful.
Yeah.
And it sometimes isn't,
Yeah.
And so this is the point. The moon is also the people.
Yeah.
If we look at this chart as a mundane chart, and the people have gone about as far as they can go.
Yeah.
That's also part of the picture here. If we take this chart and look at it as a mundane chart of world events, we are being pushed. We have been nice. We have been
accommodating.
Yes. We've compromised.
Complicit.
Yes.
Agreeable.
We've reached the end of that. Yeah. So I just want to point that out, that's a very important part of this chart. And it's also in the sign, the moon is not making an exact opposition to the sun. So it's not a full moon situation, but the moon is in the sign opposite the sun.
Okay.
And basically almost 30 degrees beyond it, but still in opposition to the sign of the sun. So again, that's this idea of interpersonal relationships, myself and you, or you and me. The people and who else? The others, right?
The others, yeah.
Yeah. There's a potential in this chart to fall into polarization. I'm going to leave that there. But the moon moves on very quickly. So it's kind of like a situation where you don't have to be in polarization. It's beyond that now.
Yes. Well, and something that's going to be coming up, we'll probably touch on this later, is that Saturn is going to be helping in this chart to help recalibrate relationships.
Yes. Yeah. And we can go there next in terms of a grouping of planets.
Okay, great.
So we have Pluto at 28 degrees Capricorn, and Pluto has been getting all kinds of guests since January.
Tell me about it.
Everybody's been visiting Pluto in Capricorn, and now they're done with Pluto. He's stuck in Capricorn. He's going to be there for another year.
All by himself.
Yeah. And Vesta has visited him and now has moved on. Vesta is been asking us, what do we want to dedicate ourselves to? What is important to us? What is it that we want to, where do we want to invest?
Yes.
Invest ourselves, right? So we've got Vesta at 4 degrees Aquarius. We have Mars at 10 degrees Aquarius. Venus at 13 degrees Aquarius. Juno, the asteroid goddess of partnership, at 18 degrees Aquarius, and then Saturn at 20 degrees Aquarius.
Yeah.
So there's, again, that slice of the pie, that 10 degrees or 14 degrees between Vesta and Saturn. And so all in Aquarius, which is forward, future-looking.
Yeah.
And Mars and Venus are within 2 or 3 degrees of each other. Juno's right there at 18 degrees. Next to Saturn, they're all saying recalibrate, restructure.
Yes.
Look at where partnerships, look at how you do relationship and bring it forward, raise it up.
Yes.
Yes. Adult to adult, get rid of your baggage, clean house, and move things forward,
Fabulous.
So that's happening. And that's also another kind of confirmation of the moon's story.
Yes.
Then, as we go to Pisces, right, there's another slice of the zodiac.
Yes.
That's just within between 7 degrees of Pisces and 11 degrees of Aries, 5 jam-packed planets right in that little slice of pie.
And this is starting soon, isn't it? Was this previous group happening now, too? Was the Aquarius group happening now?
The Aquarius group was coming into formation, but with this spring equinox chart, they will be lining up. So Venus and Mars in Aquarius are going to be traveling together until the end of March.
Got it.
And we'll make a conjunction, each in their own time, to Saturn.
Okay.
But the spring equinox is basically this has already set the story in motion.
Okay, got it. And so the second grouping in Pisces is also sort of already happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the sun moved through Pisces a week or so. It's it's been there since February. It traveled with Mercury. The sun went on to conjunct Jupiter, and the sun went on to conjunct Neptune.
Right.
And now the sun is at 0 degrees Aries, but it's still within orb, 7 degrees orb of Neptune.
Okay.
And it's a separating aspect. So it's a waning influence, but it's still within play. And Jupiter is within 11 degrees. So the sun is within 11 degrees of Jupiter, and the sun is within 7 degrees of Neptune.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the sun is moving into Aries, but the influence of these larger planets in Pisces is still at play because they're within that 10-degree orb.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So all of this big visioning, inspiration, insight, dreams, even escapism, plus the information that has been coming through. We just had in the last week the Mercury-Uranus sextile from Pisces to Uranus and Taurus. That was like, whoa, like insights, dreams, visions, like whispers, like even like birds talking to you, like stuff happening that's just kind of like
far out.
You're starting to like get a bigger picture of the world, right?
Right.
Things are not as they seem. And then you couple that with Jupiter magnifying everything, making it bigger. It might have been information overload in the last week.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more of that. It's on the waning side now. But for this season and for this week, expect to experience more of that, more information, more things you didn't know you didn't need to know, more, The thing about this, though, is that the sun has moved on from Pisces. So the sun in Pisces could say, okay, and just kind of let it roll, right?
Yeah.
But now the sun is in Aries, and it takes it very personally. Like, this information may affect you personally. It is about the collective, and it's also about you.
Yes.
So this is like more information that now is not just about, somebody else out there.
Yeah.
It's affecting you personally. And on the other side of the sun, already in Aries, is our really good friend, Chiron.
I was going to ask where Chiron is in all this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Chiron is at 11 degrees, 38 minutes in Aries.
Right.
He's part of this slice because, he's within 11 degrees of the sun on one side. He's ahead of the sun. And then the sun is 7 degrees ahead of Neptune, and Neptune is 7 degrees ahead of Jupiter.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this is a feed.
Yes.
It's like when those balls that hang from the ceiling, like one ball hits the other ball and they knock into one another, and they keep like
perpetual motion balls. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
On corporate desks.
Yes. Well, this is out in space.
Yeah.
So these guys are like, the sun has just come through here and pinged every one of them. Yep. And now the sun is sitting between Neptune, what we didn't know, and Chiron, what can hurt us, or what we're vulnerable to.
Yes.
So there's a lot of information that's being magnified about health and healing and how it affects us personally.
Amazing.
And so this is on a personal level, but because this is the chart for the season, it's going to affect a wider span of time.
Yes.
So on a seasonal quarter of a year level, right out through June, we may be experiencing and understanding more about our health and health issues from the information that's brought out or the insights that have been, the puzzle pieces that have been put together to create a bigger picture of for our own understanding.
Is Chiron at all then influencing this idea of recalibration of relationships, like the healing that can happen in relationships as well?
Chiron is at 11 degrees, 38 minutes of Aries, and that's a really good question.
Well, I ask because I did pull a card today.
Well, Chiron is involved. That's a really good question, Sarah, because as I'm looking at this chart, I'm seeing Chiron is in a sextile to Venus and a sextile to Mars.
Okay.
So absolutely.
Yeah. The card I pulled, I was drawn to use the medicine card deck, the Samson Carson medicine card deck, and I pulled the Armadillo. Can I tell you about what the Armadillo is about?
Yes.
So, the Armadillo has this armor that protects it, but it also has its fleshy, vulnerable side, and that it's basically about learning how to balance being vulnerable while still protecting yourself, and that to do one or the other is not beneficial. You don't want to just leave yourself exposed all the time, but you also don't want to curl up and hide and not feel things. So the Armadillo is sort of how you balance the use of this armor that we have while still having access to vulnerability. It says the key is in allowing Armadillo to help you to stop hiding, to use the armor to deflect negative energies. In this way, you are able to accept or reject any feeling or action or energy flow without having to hide from it. So there's also more from Armadillo, but vulnerability, it says, is the key to enjoying the gifts of the physical life. In allowing yourself to feel, a myriad of expressions are made available.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, as you were talking about Chiron, I thought, okay, why this card today? But this idea of, in order to heal some of these relationship things, we may have to touch upon our own vulnerabilities, but we also may have to put up some boundaries. The Armadillo's armor is about boundaries, and maybe in recalibrating relationships, re-examining some boundaries.
Thank you for sharing that.
It sounds like a potent season.
Yes, I know. I mean, the more I look, the more I see, but I know we've done enough. I mean, we only have so much time, But there is this sextile from Mars and Venus is really, really helpful to help us heal.
Yes.
The sun touching Chiron will have this orb of about 2.5 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
But then after that, Mercury will come in, Venus will come through. I mean, as we move through the season, Venus and Mars will come through. So there'll be time to work on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, like on the 18th of June, just before the solstice, the summer solstice, we'll have a lineup of many planets in Taurus.
Okay.
That's just a preview of what's to come. And Mars will have just moved past Chiron at 16 degrees Aries.
Yeah.
So basically between now and the summer solstice and the 21st, all of this healing work will be moving forward.
Yes.
Jupiter will just be almost there. But all the personal planets, Venus, Mercury, Mars, will have moved over Chiron.
Nice.
The big picture of spring is a healing one.
Yes. Fantastic. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Thanks, everyone, for your listening ears. And
we thought we would expand this week just a little bit because it's the start of the astrological new year, new beginnings. Spring is always, especially where we are up in the Northeast, there is this melting that happens and this potential for rebirth and recalibration. Something new springing forward.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Jude. Stargazers, if you want to reach us, you can connect at sisterstargazers.com. You can leave a message on any of our platforms and just let us know how it's going for you. And we wish you a very happy spring.
Yes.
Equinox.
And if anyone wants a personal reading, I just updated my website. We'll post that in its uraniusmirror.com, and we'll post that in the listing.
Fantastic.
Happy spring.
Happy spring, and we'll see you all again soon.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.